Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are demonstrating the use of photographic images or image in making an aperture in our digital craft technique of 12 crafts of card making. For this project, we'll need a photographic image, digital, graphic software. I'm using Affinity Photo, printer to print the card if you desire. When we are making the handmade card, we'll let you know what you need to make the handmade card. I've already opened the software in Affinity. I've already opened the software. Click on File, Open to locate our image. These are images that I took with my camera. So we'll be using two today. I've taken this airplane photo, and when I get to the second one, I'm going to press Ctrl key on my keyboard and select that too. And here's the second one. It's a nice scenery of London. So press Ctrl key, and in the file name you see both of them appear, and then you click OK. So here we have the image. On the layer palette, I'm just going to activate. It's already activated, but make sure it's activated. Then you click on the padlock to release it. You can do same on the other one, on the other image. So I just click on it to release the background. So back to the airplane picture. We're going to use the airplane picture to make an aperture in that in this scenery. Select the selection brush tool. Take it lower pixel. You can zoom in if you want to, but I'm going to zoom in because I need to see into detail, into the image, and go closer to the image. And if you desire, you can use a graphics tablet and a stylus. It will help you better than the mouse. So take the selection brush tool, and make sure add is selected. The mode is on add. Lower pixel, brush pixel, then select. If you notice here, some part of this the tail of the plane, some part of the plane is being selected. So you can go to subtract. You can take the subtract on the mode tool, subtract mode, and then click on it, and you make do of that part. And you can go back to add and decide what you want to add to it. So go back to subtract. I have to remove the tail of this plane, and go back to add and go over the end of it. Sometimes I finish selecting everything, then I'll go and check, but at times I do make mistake and forget the ones that I supposed to make the corrections on. So it's good when you are designing or selecting, you have to make the correction immediately. So I'm going to go to view, zoom to fit so that we can see our image. Then I'll increase the pixel size, the brush size. Still a bit small. Okay, let me go with that. And since I've selected the image in detail, I can now take the large brush and just over the other surface and just drag across. Then if I notice any mistake, I'll come in and fix it. No straying pixel, we just want a perfect aperture. Before we go on, I just want to state this. If you desire some tools and they are not here, just go to view, custom tools, click on it, and you have your tool in the toolbar. You can select any tool you want, just drag it and drop it in. So let me say, and anyone you don't want, you are not using, you can remove it. I've just removed the text. Let me go to this dodge tool, brush tool. I don't need it. That's like this stamp clone brush. I don't need this. I can just drag it off. The blur brush, I can remove it. Healing brush, I can remove it. Then anyone I want. I already have a text tool here. I can still remove that one. I have the zoom tool here. I can remove that one. I have the mesh and I have the shape. So I'm going to remove that. This is the node tool. Let me remove it and bring it up. So when you want anyone, let me get the node tool back. I need the node tool. I can just put it close to, you just drag it and place it where you want it to be. And let me take this text tool. I'm going to take it and drag it, drop it. And let me add a pen tool. Yeah, I love using the pen tool. So here we have it. That's how. And when you finish, you go to view, customize tool. You click on it to remove it so that you can have your work surface, your large work surface. So any tool you are not using, you can remove it and bring it back anytime you want. So now we've done we've selected our image. We're going to go to select and invert pixel so that the selection is just on the image. You can go back to select. On the menu toolbar, you click on select and you go to grow, shrink. If you go to move to the right, it enlarges, it grows, and when you move to the left, it shrinks. You see it shrinking if you move to the left, but if you move to the right, it grows. So I'm just going to, this step is not necessary or compulsory, but for some people that have smaller images and they want to make it large, but they want to use this grow and shrink, that's why I'm demonstrating this. So I'll just go a bit and I'll click apply. Oh, there's one little mistake here. I forgot to remove it. Okay, let me remove that one. Get my selection brush tool, and I'm going to click on subtract, reduce the size, and let me see. And there's one at the tail here. You can. Okay. Use subtract to remove it. Okay, so now we have it. Let me see if it's perfect. Okay, so we have it now. I'm going to go to edit, copy, then we click on the image, the scenery image, and we'll come here, we'll say edit, paste, and here we have our image. If you decide that it's too large, you can just resize it, but if not, you can leave it like that. But I'm just going, you can still resize. I just want to resize it a little. So we're going to use this airplane now to punch into the scenery image. For that, I'll use the flood fill select tool. Flood select tool, sorry. Magic wand, it's also called magic wand. So click on it. Tolerance is 20%, contiguous, checked. You can click on add, mode is add. Then you click on it. Then you, sorry, the airplane layer is activated. I'll just bring it in so that you see it. It's activated. You click on it, and here we have it, selecting it. Because of that white edge border, it's very easy for you to select it, because that border we used when we were growing and shrinking the image gave us a very nice border that it just went around it. So we go to select and we'll come to invert pixel so that the selection is on the image. So now I'm just bringing this in the layer palette. We'll click activate the background layer, and then on our keyboard we click delete. If you notice on the background layer, you can see now that there's an airplane in there. So on the background palette, background layer, you can see the airplane on it. I'm just going to click on this airplane layer to make it invisible, and then you will notice that the aperture is appearing. So you can see the aperture here. Go to selection and deselect. Now we have to add our sentiment. I already prepared one sentiment before because I had to use a plugin. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and get my sentiment. This is my sentiment. I'll go to Edit, Copy, and I'll come to the scenery image. I don't need this one anymore, so I'll just close it. It's causing. And I'll come to the scenery image and say edit, paste. On the icons on top, I'm going to use the move to front. If you desire, you can use arrange and use move to front. Because I've used move to front, that's why it has grayed out. You can use back one, move to back, depending on what you want. So I'll leave it here. I want to add a little border, maybe because I love handmade cards. So I want to add a little border around the sentiment. So on the layer palette, I'm just going to click on this airplane layer that we have made invisible because it's below the sentiment layer. And I'll get my rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle across it. I'll duplicate that rectangle and fill it with a light brown. You can move it on. Oh, sorry, I just went. Can move it under by telling to go back 1 using the icons. Then I can resize it. If you have a certain size, you can use the transform bar here to resize it. Bring, where's that transform bar? Okay. You can use this transform bar to resize it. So I'll duplicate it again and move it 1 step back. Then with my eyedropper tool, I'm going to select a dark brown from the sentiment. So let me zoom in to get into a dark brown shade color. Okay, and I'll just drag it out to see if I like it. Let me go to view. You can resize it to a certain size. We'll do that as we go on. I just want to do this free-handedly so that we can move. So I'm going to resize this one a little. All right, so we have a nice sentiment, but the card is still looking off because there's no border around, so that the sentiment can coordinate with the border. Although with this is where I got the color, so I'm just going to, with your eyedropper tool, I got color from these bricks buildings. Okay, so I'll go back. You can select any color you want. Now back to the layer palette. I'm going to click on add layer, add pixel layer to add a new layer, and go to arrange and move that layer to the back so that it's at the bottom. Then I'll take the rectangle tool, that's a very dark brown there, and I'm going to activate it off. And I'll move that brown to the back. Move the pixel layer below the brown. So now we have the brown layer. Although it's not showing now, we will make it show when we'll resize and make it show. Then we duplicate it. We just have to use the layer palette now. We'll duplicate it and use this light shade brown here. You'll notice the way the color changes in the aperture, and I'm going to just drag it to resize it a little because we're trying to add a border. Sorry you are not seeing it, but you can see it in the, you can see it here. We'll come to that. We'll resize everything and be able to, then we'll duplicate it again, and this time I'll fill it with white. And then we can fill it with white or gray, depend on what we desire as we move. I think white is all right because it gives a nice aperture here. It gives an aperture a nice color. So now we have everything. I'm just going to select all together, and we can go to documents, resize documents. I'm going to resize it to 300 dpi. Then I'm going to change the unit here to centimeters or inches. Let's use centimeters. It's an A5 card, so we need it is going to be 21 because the width is larger than the height, so it's going to be 21 by 14.8. So that's it. Oh, sorry, I have to unlock it, okay, so that I can put my 21. If not, it's going to be proportional and change. I'll click on resize. Sorry, then the resample, it can be, I should leave it on bicubic. Then I'll click resize. Okay, but we need to resize the other. We need to come in with the image. That's where we need our layer palette up here now. So clicking on the layer palette, I'll take the layer palette here and I'll take the transform here because we need the transform too. So on the transform layer, we activate what we want. Then on the transform layer we go. I'm going to make it 21. Then here it's going to be 14.8. Then go to the next layer. If that one is 21, this is going to be 20 because I'm going to make it reduce it by 1 centimeter. If this is 14.8, it's going to be 13.8. I'm going to reduce 1 centimeter from each of the border. So I've missed it. Okay, 20. Then this is going to be 19. Okay, so this is going to be 19 centimeter. Oh, I can't remember this one, so I'm going to go back. 13.8. Okay, this is going to be 12.8. So I'm going to make sure it's okay. Now this scenery layer, we need to reduce it. So if this is 19, the scenery is going to be 18 and 11.8. So going to be 18, then 11.8. Because I'm resizing it to fit an A5 card. So I'll put this one aside for now. And here we have our borders. We need to now resize to fit. Arrange it to fit. So the brown is the main one. I'm just going to click on it. And I'll use the X and Y axis to arrange it. With that, I'll be able to arrange the others. So I'll put it on 0. And on the Y axis is going to be on 0. Then you'll notice it will fit perfectly around the page, the new size of the new page size. So this, we'll go to this light brown. You can drag it in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to View, Show Grid, and I'm going to go to View, Grid and Axis Manager. I want to see what it's saying about my grid. So I'm going to put 0.5 here. It's in centimeters, and I'll just close. So I have a nice grid. And with that, I'll come in and I will arrange my image to fit. And I'll just pick on them and use the grid to arrange them so that they line perfectly. And I'll put this and I'll arrange it. Then I'll select this other one, the sentiment, and just put it here. Now we've arranged our image. I'm going to go to View and remove the grid because it's blocking the it's making the view look somehow. So here we have our image. Here's our beautiful image. If you want to print, you can go to File, New, and then you can select and say Print and select the size you want. We want A4, so we're going to click on A4. Document size, let's work in centimeters, and then DPI is 300 because it's minimum print quality. You can make it portrait or landscape. I think we should make it landscape, so uncheck the portrait and you click on OK. Oh, I made the background white. You can make the background, let me go back. You can make the background transparent. So if you want it a transparent background, you just check on it and click the transparent background there, and then you can click on OK and you have a transparent background. This one is a dense white. Let me close the white. Then okay, we don't need this text anymore because we've resized it here. So if you want to, you can just take this text here, select the text, because you've already resized it. You've designed your image here, you designed your card here, so now you know what is happening. And sorry, I didn't tell you, I was working in photo personnel section of the software. If you decide that you want to edit this in Designer, maybe you have you want to fill this with images, like vector images. You want to create your own vectors. You can go to, and you have Affinity Designer. Then you can go to File, Edit in Designer. I'm just going to click it. It's not I'm not going to talk about Designer. It just tells that if you have both software, you can move from one to the other. Edit from, you have a photo you want to use in a vector design, or you have a vector you want to use in a photo design, you can transfer them between each software. But this is that they are going, but the thing is that they are going to open in each. They are going to open as new tab. It's not like Affinity Publisher that you don't need to leave the software. So now we are in Designer. You can see the logo here. I just want to tell you, it's going to open it in Designer. So here we are, it has opened it in Designer, and you can see that the toolbar has changed. Although you can still change your toolbar by going to View and Customize, but here you can see that it's in Designer Personnel, and here you have your Pixel Personnel if you want to work in pixels in the Designer section. So now I'm going to tell you to go back to Photo. I'm just telling, for those who have bought the software that don't know that you can move into from one software into the other. That's what I'm just going in there. So I'll go back to Editing Photo, because when you want to use plugin, you have to use Photo, Affinity Photo. So I design things in, just going to close this. It has opened it in Photo, back into Photo, and here we have our design. So now I'm just going to save. Okay, before we save, I'm going to select my move tool, click on the save strip. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. I want to print it separately. So no, I don't want only that. Okay, let me just leave it there. Sorry. I'm going to select this tab. I think that is nice. I didn't arrange it properly. Can you see me? Oh, I forgot to arrange it properly. Okay. Okay, the text don't really matter. It fits properly. That's what we needed to do. Okay, that's fine. It's all right. So just my own false alarm. So go to Edit, and I'll go to Copy. So I've selected the tabs, the borders of those sentiments, including the sentiment. Just drag them cursor across it with the mouse, move tool activated. And so I'm going to go to this new page we've created. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Then we'll go to Edit, and we're going to put it on Paste. So here we have it. I'm going to make it group. Then on the layer palette, I'm going to right click on it and select group. Then I'll place it here. You can duplicate it if you want as many as you depend on how many you want. If you are printing it for sale, then you can or you're printing it for, it all depends, you can have it. Because of the setting, as you duplicate, it's going to repeat after the first going to give the same distance, so you don't need to. So you see it, I just click on, right click on it and click on duplicate, and it will duplicate it and spread it well for me. Then I can come in here, because I'm going to use card. Let me go to view, zoom, and zoom to fit. Because I'm going to use a card to make the border, I just need only this image. That's the scenery image without aperture. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to click on copy. Then I'll go into the new page, and I'm going to click on edit, and I'll click on paste. So here we have it. I can rotate it if I want to. So I'm going to go to arrange. I'm going to say rotate clockwise, 90 degree clockwise, so that it can be any. I just cut it, and let me rotate it well so that it's I don't counterclockwise, and I'll go to arrange and tell it to counterclock. So here you have it. We're going to print it, and then we have a nice image. If you think that the image is skewing a little, then make sure when you are resizing, make sure you click the lock aspect ratio, so that when you resize, it fits the exact size you want it to be. That when you resize the width, it automatically resizes the height. So I think so we need to save. Okay, we need to save our image. I'm going to click on file, export, and here we have some setting. If you want it in TIFF, PSD, PDF, I'm going to go for JPEG, so I'll activate JPEG. And here you can decide not to export hidden layers. You can decide to reduce the quality. I want the quality to be 100%. You can decide if you don't want it to export the whole document. When we are doing the others, you will see it. So you can decide what you don't want to export. You can decide what. So we wanted to export the whole document. Go to export, and we're going to go to photographic image. I'll just pick one and edit it and say photographic aperture card A4 print table, so that I know that's what I want to print, and I'll click on save. If you want to, you can still save it in Affinity Affinity Photo format or Affinity format. So you can just go to File, Save As, and you can save it in Affinity format. So I'll go to Photographic. Okay, I'll just take on this. I'll have to be careful so that I don't save over it. A4 printable. I can say in layers, just to put a different name in there, but it's going to save it in layers. So I'm going to close this, and we'll save this other one. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. You can save it there, and if you want to export, you can export as PSD, which Affinity can open. So you can, and Corel Paint Pro can open PSD. There are a lot of files that can open PSD. So exporting in PSD is also very good if you want it in layer format. If you want to send it to someone in layer format and the person don't have Affinity, you can save in PSD, and a lot of software can open that. Okay. Even when I use Corel Paint Pro, I do save in PSD so that I can open it in my Photoshop, my Adobe Photoshop. So I'm going to just save this so that I don't forget what I'm doing. Photographic Aperture. Oh, Aperture card save trip. And it's going to be in layer format. So let's meet on the work. So let's meet on the work surface where we'll create our aperture card. Aperture handmade card. Where we'll create our aperture handmade card. We are now on the work surface to make our aperture greeting card. We need glue, liquid glue. We need scissors, acetate, optional. We want to fill the aperture with artificial snow. So here's our artificial snow. We need foam pads if you desire, or you can use liquid glue. But I think I'll be going for liquid glue. You need your guillotine. You need cards to layer. So I'm using tan and chocolate brown. We need card base. A4 card folded in half to make an A5 card. We need our printout. So here's a printout, and I've printed another sheet. Just put sentiment on it for the insert. And we need a craft knife. Because we need a craft knife, we need a crafting mat so that we can cut when we're cutting to it. So before we start, I want us to cut the shape out. So I'm just gonna zoom in a little while we cut the If you don't want to go through this, you can use a digital cutter. I didn't use a digital cutter because I'm not demonstrating digital cutting technique, and that requires another technique. So I'm just gonna cut. I'm not skilled with the craft knife, but I'm just trying my best. If you have a die that can cut into it, that's an airplane die, you can use it to cut. So you forgive me if mine is not that perfect. As I said earlier, I'm not skilled with the craft knife. So here we have it, our airplane. All right, I don't need the craft knife anymore. I just put that safely. Get the guillotine. I'll get the guillotine and then we'll just trim around. Can use scissors, but I just want to use a paper trimmer. I moved it. Cut a little. So here we have cut our aperture. It's going to be then where's the acetate? We'll place our acetate at the back of it. Then we'll put some little artificial foam pads. Oh, the edges are quite rough. Put the artificial foam pads at the back and glue it to the other layer. So that's how we're going to work. Now let me start first. Put this one aside. glue. Okay, let's put the acetate. Let's cut the acetate. So I'm just going to cut the acetate a little bit smaller than the aperture topper. Okay, here we have it, and I'm going to glue the aperture topper to it. Oh, I'll glue it. Okay. Just the ends. Okay, that's fine. So I'm just gluing the acetate to the aperture topper. And if there's any excess I forgot, I didn't trim properly, I'm gonna cut it. So here we have it. As I said earlier, pardon my fussy cuts. So we're going to glue this. What I'm going to do first is to glue the brown to the base card. So I'm gluing the brown to the base card. Then I'll glue the tan to the brown, to the dark brown. And when I was cutting the the card for layering, I made from the base card, that's A5 shape of the base card, I made 1 centimeter off, and the brown, that's the brown is 1 centimeter off the base card, and the tan, the dark brown, is 1 centimeter of the base card, and the tan is 2 centimeters of the base card. So that when I arrange them to make, it's going to give about 0.5 centimeter borders all around. I did 1 centimeter horizontally and 1 centimeter vertically. So the base card is 21 in width, and in height is 14.8. That means the brown is 13.8 in height, and in width is 20. The tan is 12.8 in height and 19 in width. So I'll need to place this here, but before I place it, remember we have to put artificial snow. Since I know the spot now, I'm just going to put some artificial snow there. If you have tiny leaf confetti, you can put that too. So let me see, it's going to appear. You can even fill it with beads. To make it dimensional, you may want to use, if you decide to make yours 3D, you want to use foam on the rolls. And you put it horizontally and vertically on the four corners of the four borders of the card or edge. So I'm just going to use glue and put the glue You can use foam on the rolls or you can use glue. I don't want it to be 3D. That's why I'm using glue. So I'm just gonna hold it. And be careful to see, make sure you see all ends or edges of the aperture. If not, it will seep. That's to start, if there's an opening, the filling or stuffing is gonna come out. So you can see mine trying to come out, but I'm gonna glue them down. I'm gonna place my hands on it to make sure it glues. Or I can put something heavy on to make sure. This is why most times people do prefer using the 3D sticky foam pad or foam on the roll. So here we have it. I'm just going to leave it to dry. So I'll put this one aside and clean my messy glue. While it's drying, let me put it up there. You need to cut the sentiment. So just go. Snip, snip, snip. I'm just going to get a little brown card and layer it. So I'm just going to layer it. I can trim around this. I'm just going to trim around it. Don't think we need it because we're going to layer. Place it and leave a thin border. Apply glue to the back again and place it on the brown and glue it to the brown, leaving a thin border. So here I'm going to put foam pads at the back, or I can just glue. Oh, I didn't hold it properly, so it's still opening. I think the glue should still be wet. So I'm putting sticky foam pad at the back. And here we have our sentiment. I'm just going to put it. So here's our lovely card, having the aperture. Oh. So let me put the insert. Just going to glue it. I'm gluing it to the upper part of the card, the upper flap. Just put about some dots there and glue it. Make sure the insert is down. I've put some dots there, glue, and make sure the insert is down, right side properly. Okay. We'll put some glue here, you can see it, and the insert, and just close. When you open, when it's right, you see that the flap opens. And here you have your insert. So here's our lovely card with the aperture. Thank you for joining me for this video of 12 crafts of card making, the technique of digital craft, a focus of photographic images used as an aperture design on this greeting card. You can visit the blog anino.ogunjobi.com to see what's happening in the craft industry. Until then, happy crafting.